The iPad may be getting impressively close to everyday computer territory, but there is still something about the desktop software experience on a Mac that a mobile device can't replace. Even more so if the keyboard on your MacBook works, but mobile software has its benefits: speed, usability, simplicity, so it's not a surprise to see that macOS 10.15 Catalina, the newest operating system for the Mac, borrows some features from its mobile cousin iOS. Think of it as the best of all iWorlds. macOS Catalina has been available since late last month as a public beta, which means anyone can download it and test it on their own machine. However, it's still not the final version of the OS, so you can expect bugs and incomplete features if you decide to try it. And as always, back up your machine before you install this pre-release software so you can restore your Mac to its previous working state if anything disastrous happens. Here are a few things you expect as you navigate your way through Catalina. More iOS apps on Mac. Project Catalyst, formerly known as Marzipan, was one of the bigger announcements that Apple made at its annual software conference last month. It's a framework that allows developers to easily port iOS apps over to the Mac, which means mobile apps like Twitter, and many others once app makers have time to tool around with this, can now run as macOS apps. On the one hand, this potentially means optimized, faster, more responsive versions of apps that you normally access via a web browser. On the other hand, it means running more apps. As part of this new initiative, Apple is bringing some of its native iOS apps over to Mac, including Apple News, Stocks, Voice Memos, and Home. And then there's that whole iTunes thing. The big breakup hits the elephant in the room, and it's what some have called the death of iTunes. In macOS Catalina, Apple is picking apart the bloated iTunes and assigning its various parts their own app containers: Apple Music, Apple TV, and Apple Podcasts. The new Apple Music in macOS Catalina. Apple Music is focused, unsurprisingly, on music. Podcasts is for searching, downloading, and listening to podcasts. Apple TV's purpose is a little more scattered, especially since there will soon be an Apple TV Plus experience for original content within the Apple TV app, but this is where you'll buy and rent movies and shows, something you used to have to do through iTunes. In the Apple TV app, you can also view your purchased items, access third-party streaming apps like HBO or Hulu, and find personalized recommendations on what to watch.